So I'm very excited to welcome the very beautiful Delany Delany here today. She's here from New Zealand, and she is very expert in a whole range of areas, performance art, and also, with sound and with voice, and also with areas to do with the divine feminine, exploring the divine feminine, sensuality, sexuality. I'll let Delany talk more about her modalities herself, but she did a presentation recently on Soul Healing Group for Australia and it blew everyone away. It was so beautiful, and I'm going to be posting it on my channel very shortly, so that's exciting. Please look out for that. And so welcome, Delany. It's so wonderful to have you here. I thought we'd talk a little bit about you and what you do, and then perhaps chat about what's happening in New Zealand and Australia so people can have some updates there, and then take it from there. So welcome.
Thank you, beautiful. It's been a big life and continues to be a big life, doesn't it? Well, we've certainly signed up for it, my friends. My background has always been connected with bringing people together, and being able to see and perceive the amazingness and magic in what is different in each of us as well. And so that led me to working in the field with people labeled disabled, but who are very uniquely able, and also with youth and Indigenous people. I've been really lucky to work with some amazing Aboriginal people and on some incredible projects as well. So I was very much always into community cultural development, really. And then my seeker, I've always been a seeker, really led me into opening up with the whole spiritual side of life, because I'd had a lot of religion and, like many, really rejected that, went sex, drugs and rock and roll. And then, this wonderful discovery. Yes, definitely. and led to just so much discovery of magic. And I have to say, my work with people labeled disabled was an area where I really just started to discover myself through the work I was doing. Also brought me back into music and singing and the performing arts, and it was incredible. And we created a conference that was called PACTIC, Power of Arts, Key to Inclusion, and that was started out very disability focused, and it just spread. And it was amazing to see the power in that and the power of creativity. And this just continued to open up, and I really got into a big journey of the exploration of consciousness. And then this started to impact on my work too, where I was seeing even more and more magic. I was working with people with voice, and started to have, people spontaneously be able to sing for the first time in their lives. People start to speak, lots of really amazing magic. And so that's been the journey that continued on for many years. And I've studied I've been called Access Consciousness for many years and worked all over the world. And I've trained in theta healing and a lot of Joe Dispenza work, and and I still to this day do courses and work. That's how I came to meet Medyhne, was actually having a session with her. And so that's really been what has now led me to connecting more with the whole power of the feminine. I went through a thing myself where I had a total hip replacement a year ago in about a week, I think, or maybe 2 weeks. And I'm lucky. I'm a very orgasmic person, very strong energy, that orgasmic energy that's not just about copulation too. You know, that is the creative, the nurturing,
yes,
the healing energy.
Yes.
And I really discovered through the whole thing is with the hip degeneration and everything that, and the use of opioids, oh my gosh, all of that got numbed.
Yeah, that would have been quite a contrast to the usual state, I guess, that you hold.
Yeah, very, very different. And so this year has been the past year has been the regeneration and recovery, more regeneration than really recovery, and rediscovery too.
Maybe a bit of a rebirth. Yeah.
Very, very much so. You don't, you know, we all create our lives, don't we? You know, and for what we've come for, what we're here to create, what we're here to discover. And I was so busy doing, even though I talked about practicing not doing and being, but I was still so busy doing. And I really, the universe had to go slap.
Yeah. It's interesting because you would have already had that within your path, that you were still, you know, working on yourself and doing that, but it was like a much more intense push for you. So it's like your soul saying you can do more type thing.
Very much. You know, I'm glad you said that. So for people to know, like, just because things fall apart in whatever way, you know, like we often fall apart it's really falling together.
Yes.
And I had got, like, I'd just run my first retreat in Bali, and it was successful and wonderful. You know, I had launched on a global network. I had hundreds of people in programs and doing private sessions, all of that. Like, it was all rocking. I might have thought.
Oh gosh, it's interesting. The universe.
It was like, it really is. It really is. So the being in question of, okay, what's right about this, and what else is possible, and this really led me to have to work with my body. I had to get over the projections and expectations I had about what healing needed to encompass.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, I actually needed some painkillers. I had been to India. I had done Panchakarma. I lived in Bali for 2 years. I went to healers. I did so many different things. And here's my life, like, on one level, like, expanding out. But physically, it was deteriorating.
Yeah.
So, but when you're asking for more consciousness, when you're asking to really connect with, what am I here? Why am I here? What is it that I can contribute? And then to actually really go, wow, what can I contribute to myself?
And the incarnation that we are experiencing in this earthly, 3D reality is the incredible opportunity to really accelerate our soul evolution, because we are in this, paradigm. It actually allows us to really, because of the density and everything that's here, to really accelerate, our growth. And so I think we don't want to lose that opportunity as a soul. And it's not just about serving others, which is wonderful too, doing universal service and having lots of clients and things. It's also so much about our own evolution and like the intensity too of the moment now, of everything that we're experiencing with this transition that we're going through is pushing us like never before as well. And then on top of that, you've had the this physical thing that you just couldn't obviously avoid, and you just had to go and address that head on when it happened. So Yeah, it's really interesting, because I think people lose sight of the fact that in the midst of everything that we're going through, it is about soul growth and soul evolution, because your soul will be looking back on this moment, and not only will it be saying, what am I doing for the collective, but what am I doing individually for my own evolution?
Yeah, very much, you know. And like, I've always had big asks, always. You know, so be careful what you're asking for. I think you relate. Yeah, you know, it's like, you know, I ask big, therefore, you know, it's going to be big. It's not always going to show up the way that I think it might show up or should show up. And, you know, as soon as, like, I the day that I went to the doctor, and he said, and I found a really, like, very different doctor, who now, due to all of what's going on across the world, is no longer a practicing doctor. But he was, look, I totally know you don't want to go on opioids. You got to get some pain relief. You really do. Like, you know, like, look at how you're moving. And then the x-rays came back, and it was like, you have to have a hip replacement. Like, you have to do this.
Yes.
And I knew by then I had to, you know, so I walk out and I'm like sobbing in the car park, you know, about this. Yes. And rang my sister-in-law, and, you know, like, just blurt out so that my partner wouldn't get hit with that onslaught of emotion. And because he's so supportive, you know, and such an empath. Yes. And anyway, so then as soon as I let it go, I started to see the miracle in that I'd found this doctor. And the next thing, I'm in, like, it only took 4 months, and I was in a private hospital with one of the best surgeons in the country. I had, like, the day that I went to hospital, I was stunned. I had the best room in the place, with my own bathroom, with 2 windows down the end of the hall. I had the most amazing nurses and people that cared for me. Like, there was just so much magic and miracles in the thing. And I realized, like, how much, even though I thought that I was so open, how much I had these views of what miracles were.
And isn't it collectively too, at the moment, we're all learning to let go of control, because as the ego dissolves and we ascend in our energy, we're releasing ego. Now, ego is all about, I've got to control this. You know, I'm an alternative person. I don't do mainstream medicine stuff. You know, that's control. You know, so it's like releasing and surrendering all the different layers we have of control in order to be able to ascend.
Big time.
Yeah.
Control is a huge one, especially for a lot of us women.
Yeah. Well,
I know it's men as well.
I do think men, as well.
Yeah. I know. And women are control freaks. Come on, like.
Well, that's true too. I think humanity, maybe in general. I don't know.
Totally. Like, I do get it's with men as well. Like, I do. But quite often, as women, in much of my experience, we have been quite resistant to acknowledging just how strong our control freak is.
Yes. Because
the power that we have with that. We have a lot of power. We have a lot of power. And
it's fear too, isn't it? You know, controlling, wanting to control things. Underneath, at the very sort of bottom of that, if you really want to analyze it at this deepest level, it's fear. Because when you don't feel like you're in control, you feel fearful, because it's the unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, just on that with women, like, I know that men and women have male and female energy within each of us, all of that. But there is a reality here that for thousands of years, the divine feminine has been suppressed, not just by men, but by women as well. We have rejected the power of our own bodies a heck of a lot.
Yes.
You know, right now today, I talk to women and they're not comfortable about they can't even name they can't even name the vulva. Like the vagina is the channel into the cervix, for God's sake. Yet we call the whole thing that. You know, we don't embrace this power and this energy. There's so much more available with this. And this doesn't mean I'm anti-men. I love men and I am super grateful for men. But something that I've discovered by engaging more with that power, by getting in and getting down and dirty with my own body and feeling okay about, like I use the term pleasure zone, so it makes it easier to talk to other people about it. But I feel fine about naming all the bits. You know, it's you know, I was working with a group the other day, and the amount of women that didn't even know that the clitoris is not just that button, that it actually goes down in like a wishbone shape, and that we have this whole system that is all about pleasure. You know, they have researched for a couple of 100 years now trying to find what the clitoris is for apart from pleasure, and they can't find any other reason. So how much are we as women resisting pleasure, resisting the pleasure in our own bodies and the power in that? That's what is really lighting me up now, and I know it so intimately because of the journey that I've been on, particularly in the last year. You know, because we're even wired differently. You know, so we have all these neurons and nerves, like lots of them. For some women, a lot more go to the clitoris. For some women, a lot more will go even to the anus area, to the vagina. You know, like we're not all wired the same.
Sure.
And so even from physical things that go on, that can actually play into, as well as cultural and as well as conditioning and as well as our experiences, there are neurological things that go on. We don't even talk about this.
Oh, and I do think Australia is very, very suppressed when it comes to sexuality, both for males and females. You know, it's just something that is not explored on any level at all. It's like the great unknown, you know. And if it is, it's a very sort of a superficial layer of, you know, the sort of more the perverted aspect of sexuality, that it's not you know, a divine connection to source. You know, it's not explored in that way, or that at this aspect of us being able to tap into our highest potential, that you just don't hear those ways of talking about sexuality and sensuality in Australia. It's always the lowest common denominator, it seems. So, you know, you just got to look at advertising and all that sort of thing. So it's an area that has the deepest levels of exploration needed, I think, at this time. Absolutely. In order for us as humanity to progress and to move forward, and to really tap into the true essence of who we are and why we're here.
Totally. And the power, the healing power.
Yes.
The healing, regenerative power of this energy.
Yes.
And like, as women, quite often, women don't even explore their own bodies, have not grabbed a mirror and had a look and blessed it and released. I've been a body worker as well. And so the absolute healing and regenerative power of that sexual energy or sensual energy, you know, we've become so disconnected from it that quite often women have never even looked at their bodies. Like, they haven't actually got a mirror and looked at their own vulva and had the release and the gift that can be. Like, I've done processes, meditative processes that are so beautiful, that take you out of judgment of your body. And which is huge when you're 60 years old and you're carrying a belly and all of that thing, to be able to actually be there with a mirror and look at yourself and see the beauty in that. And also, as a body worker, I had experience a few years ago where it was spontaneously starting to happen, where I would be massaging someone's body near their pubic area, and they were asking me to actually work on the bones around there because they could feel the release. So all of the judgment, and this was not all about from being sexually abused. There were gay men who were, all of the toxicity and the judgment from other men, from society, the same thing with women. So I had this period of time where it was just huge, the amount of people coming to me to have this release from the toxicity held in their pleasure zone.
Wow.
This is very big work, very deep work, very required work, because what I've also experienced, Medyhne, is how much kinder it's made me, how much it's improved my relationship with my partner, who's a man, and I'm more aware and I'm kinder, and I'm communicating better. It's just really delicious work. And, like the Dalai Lama has said it, that, it'll be women that lead this.
Yes.
And this is not about negating men.
No.
If anybody knows me, they know how much men feature in my life and how important they are. This is not, but this is about claiming and owning being a woman this lifetime.
Yes.
And we're here on an embodiment journey. So let's really embrace embodiment and see what else is truly possible. Because what I get is that this is miraculous, and we have the power to lead in a way that is walking side by side, not leading in a way that get behind me.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So with the divine, embracing the divine feminine, it's also about the male embracing the divine feminine within themselves, as well as the female as well. So it's not just something for the females to do, even though we've incarnated in this body for a reason. I think the whole planet embracing that divine feminine aspect within as well. And I think too, when you talk about the work that you're doing, the more that people do that, then there's an energetic or consciousness shift that happens, where more and more people feel the liberation of that sexuality, that sensuality, and then encourages more people to do it. So it's that 100th monkey syndrome thing, where more people that are able to do that, and also recognizing and acknowledging that this is an avenue or a vehicle for being able to really move forward in humanity's progression. It's not just about, us individually. It's about what are the best ways that we can tap into our own gifts to be able to be part of this grand awakening, this grand ascension. And for many people, they wouldn't have even thought that this was a tool or that this was a resource for how to actually get there.
Yeah, it's very true. And also, I just want to say, for me, this is my point of view, that by more and more women embracing this and stepping into it, it will facilitate that connection for men more.
Yes.
Not that we're responsible for that,
no,
but by us actually stepping in, because it's that wonderful thing, even when we're wanting, I've spoken with women, right, and they're wanting their partners to touch them in a way or make them feel certain ways, and yet they don't do that with themselves. They actually don't know their own body in a way that they can actually ask for that. they're wanting it to just be this magic thing, but it's 10 or 20 years or whatever, and the magic thing's not happening. Like, perhaps if we actually, it's about choosing for me with the kingdom of we. So if we choose from consciousness, we choose from that presence, we're connected with thoughts, we're in gratitude. Any choice that we make in that energy is going to create greater, not just for ourselves. That's the choosing for me with the kingdom of we. That's the beauty of it. And so by being willing, and that's why I went, you know what, I'm actually going to focus on working with women for a while.
Yes. Yes.
Because I had not done that. And I'm very clear about it, not being a negate men. This is what's required from me right now,
right,
to work with women and engage this, and let's see where we can go, because the more of us that step into it, the more awareness we get, the richer the tapestry is of what is truly possible.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, the analogy could be made as, it's like, you know, if you want to meet a great partner, you are really encouraged to be treating yourself in the way that you want to be treated prior to meeting the person. The same with sexuality. You can't just sort of go into sexuality and expect them to do everything right and do it themselves, and you've got no idea what's going on. It's like, you know, you treat yourself the way that you want to be treated, and then it will, on that vibrational match as well, on that vibrational level, it will magnetize into in that same frequency.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. Thank you.
Said.
Thank you. Well, I love talking to you. So I think that people will get a really strong sense of everything that you're doing with that. And I mean, I think that this is a talk that really is so empowering at the moment with everything going on, because people have got their focus on, you know, the day-to-day things of what's going on in the world. Can we perhaps just touch base on what you see happening in New Zealand, and then I could, you know, touch base on Australia, what I'm seeing.
Australia. Yeah, that'd be great. Because I do notice that quite often, you know, in international broadcasts, New Zealand doesn't feature a great deal. You know, it's this little country.
No, that's what you
yet, it's there's some very interesting stuff in this country as well. And right at the moment, inspired by Ottawa, as is in Australia, lots of my friends heading down to Canberra. Yes. People are heading to Wellington. Regrettably, we just can't do that right now. It's about 15 hours and we just can't get there this weekend. We will be there energetically. And I think the biggest thing is about the divide that this is creating, and in, you know, more than whether you get a vaccine or not, the actual mandates and the laws that have been put in place, and we're seeing that in so many countries, aren't we? The same kind of laws, even if they're not being totally enacted. So we've got the same kind of things going on here, like I'm not allowed to a hairdresser's, I'm not allowed to a gym. There are doctors who are charging you extra to be seen in a car park, to be seen in a cubicle somewhere because you're unvaccinated.
It's so random. Totally random.
It's really random. There are many businesses who are choosing to inflict those mandates as well, and bless them all, the businesses that aren't. But these are very, very trying times. And I mean, I'm extremely lucky. And we've talked about this before, Medyhne, where, you know, doing the work for so many years does make it a heck of a lot easier.
Absolutely.
You know, the people that up until a month ago or 6 months ago or even a year or so ago were not even aware of anything going on and are now in full-blown mode. My heart I just send them love every day.
and what's the situation like with the protests too at the moment in New Zealand? Because it's looking very violent with the police reaction at this point. And, you know, I'd say to any of the police, both in New Zealand and Australia, that are watching, is we are watching. and we know what's going on, and that, you know, if you treat another human being with anything less than respect, integrity, and in a way that you want to be treated, then you will reap the soul repercussions of that at a very, very deep level, karmically and so forth. And that, you know, this is just not acceptable. I'm so surprised at the levels of, you know, violence that are happening with all this, when these people are supposed to be representing the people that they work for, which is the people. All people. Yeah.
I know there was some really dodgy stuff has gone on in Wellington. I think yesterday I heard like the numbers were between 50 and 80 people had been arrested. There were some not so nice things with older people being dragged off.
I saw an awful thing with a lady too, and I won't even go into that. But yeah, some really. And so last night things were calm. But there was there was a Maori man got up and spoke and was speaking to the police as well, saying these tents that are here, if you're going to come and do a raid, our children are in these tents. Yes.
Like our children are with us. And I think what's a really important factor here is these are not radicals. There are so many people that I've heard or seen their writing, and they're teachers, lawyers, doctors.
Exactly, everyone from the whole
everyone, you know, builders. These are families. There are people who have sold their properties because they don't know how they're going to pay. I like there was pay their mortgage, so they've sold so that they're safer in that way. There are people living in tents. These are people who up till very recently were pillars in the community.
Exactly.
And so for people to not be viewing this and viewing it with a very clear picture, it doesn't matter whether you agree totally or not. One of the things about being an adult in consciousness is to be present and hear each other. Now, I hear that you want the right to have a vaccine and protect, right? I hear that. So hear me and hear these people that have put their lives on the line, because the research that they've done, it's not lighthearted. You know, this is something I want people to know. This is not lighthearted. No. This is not just woo-woo crazy. No. There's some really out there stuff, and there is stuff that's bloody frightening.
It's basic
real.
Fundamental human rights. Basic fundamental. That's all.
And you have to look at the legislation that's been sneaked through, and even how it's gotten through. Single one of us. The cashless society, the intense monitoring. You know, people are going la. This is not a time to be going la, my friends. This is a time to go, all right, I don't have to believe everything that everyone says. Well, what's really going on here? Get on and have a look at legislation. Read the words, read the fine print, because this is your life, it's your children's lives, it's your grandchildren's lives.
And take action.
Not just about
stand up. Don't just sit at home watching everything going on. Step in and do something, because every person needs to step in now. It's beyond a point where you can just sit back and go and watch. You know, it's really every person has been called to stand up. And the thing that I see as well, you know, not just the pandemic regulations and all that sort of stuff that we're going against. It's really basically the whole institution and the way all systems have been set up within our reality are now fundamentally flawed, and they're corrupt, and they're no longer in alignment with humanity's free will, with humanity's choice of how we want to go forward. And so it's like this time is a time to basically dissolve all these old structures, and that have been in place for thousands and thousands of years, and just create new ones that actually serve every human being.
Yeah. A time for coming together, like no matter skin color, religion,
yes,
race, whatever.
We're all family.
Really, yeah. And that's it. If people look at the crowds gathering, that's what is represented in those crowds too.
Absolutely.
It's all races. It's all, it's not just one area. And, it's really interesting too. I was listening to an Aboriginal man who's in Canberra, and my God, he needs to be part of a new system. He was just amazing to listen to.
What's his name? Do you know his name?
I can't remember. I'll see if I can find the clip actually, and get it to you, because he was just delightful. And he was saying to the guy interviewing, well, mate, you're my brother now. This is what Aboriginal people have been going through the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
And even though there is division within the Indigenous community around this issue as well, yes. But it's a truth. It's a truth.
Yes.
Where this goes beyond a skin color or a creed. This is affecting across the board, and that's something. If people are fearful or feeling like, look, just stop it, just go away. Just go to your heart center, be present with yourself, and ask with compassion, which is not compassion is not suffering. Compassion is not being a martyr. Compassion is the ability to be with where somebody else is at without being there yourself, without actually taking it all on and drowning in the emotion of it, but to actually be present and go, wow. Because my reality is very different from somebody who has 3 kids and has left the police force and left being a teacher. Yes. And they're now in the capital cities of whatever country, and unable to go home, or not having a home anymore, or whatever that is,
And everyone's got different levels of what they're dealing with. So that's what I want to mention too. So in Australia, Canberra is obviously the focus at the minute. So I'm sure Delany and I both really want to give full kudos to everyone who is joining in that, sort of convoy, in that mass gathering in Canberra. And so what I'd like to mention too is, as I'm seeing at the moment, is that, that there is, I think tomorrow is the day that they're really encouraging everyone, to come, and there's going to be mass waves of people arriving over the next few days, I think. The other thing was that I did see things like they are deploying certain sort of measures, like, the police and things. But again, I think if people are able to just be aware of everything that's going on and just stand together and unite, and the more people that get there, the quicker this thing can be finished. So we're sending energetic prayers and blessings. I'm the same as you, Delany. I can't be there right at the minute. I'm actually not 100%, but that's okay. Yes, our heart goes out to everyone in Canberra. We're with you from around Australia
and Wellington,
get there, and Wellington, and from New Zealand. This is for everyone. It's not just for our country; it's for everyone.
And Ottawa, and any other area where people have been inspired and are gathering. It takes so much courage. That's another thing for people to remember who are, bothered by all of this. The courage that it takes is, I'm astounded. I have been near tears so many times, or cried reading what people, well, it's happened. You know, I've been mandated and this is where we're at. And it's like, oh my goodness, the courage and the strength. And I think that that's what's wonderful about these events too, is the camaraderie and the kindness. From what I can gather within the camps and what's going on, the majority of what's going on is the kind of reality that most of us on this planet actually want to live in.
And that's what we're heading towards, isn't it? You know, that sense of community where everyone comes together in love, you know, people driving into the camps and people going, oh, hi, great to have you here. And, you know, really extending.
Food's over here.
Yeah, warmth and love, and people volunteering, you know, free food and time, and just that, that it is really filling the void of what we haven't seen before in terms of communities truly bonding in that deep way. And that's where we're going. That's where we're heading. So it's creating that energy to be able to go forward with that energy. So, you know, when there's resistance and pushback, and, you know, the government are wanting us not to do this, the resistance pushes the positive forward, which is that it brings community together even more in the way that we want to see. So that's what it does in the quantum universe. That push creates the other impact, and I love how that happens. The other thing I want to say is that there was just this announcement by the PM in Australia that, you know, the 0 to 19 push for children, and there was a High Court attempt to stop this yesterday. It was due to be heard at 10 o'clock in the High Court. And people are going to gather there at 10 o'clock. It was pushed earlier to 9 o'clock, so it was pushed through very quickly, so nobody was there, and it was thrown out. So, you know, if people are thinking, oh, this is just going to get better, it's just going to go away, now they're really, really pushing this for the children here. And so this is why this is the moment to step up on every level, you know, that we can, you know, if you can't physically be present in Canberra, what are the steps you're taking at this time? Have a wonderful soul healing group on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it is wonderful too.
Thank you. We do amazing energy work for Australia, shifting and you know, there's so many ways that you can contribute. If you don't know how to contribute, ask me, ask Delany, we'll think of things.
Absolutely. Definitely.
There's always things, aren't there? Always things that you can do. And, you know, you feel actually so much better when the more involved you are in being proactive. It feels better in your soul because you know that you're doing something. And, you know, when we look back upon this time as a soul, we're going to every individual soul will ask, what did I do right now to shift the paradigm that is happening? You know, what did I do? What personal responsibility as a soul did I take, not only for myself, but for humanity at this time? And, oh, my God, I get so much energy, as I say, going through my body. So that universal truth. Yeah. Yeah.
And we know, Medyhne, about there's been studies on the power of prayer, which is people gathering with an intention, you know, and recently I'd been reading the Gospel of Thomas that had been found, and there was stuff in there, again, repeatedly, in fact, around how to create, you know, hand over heart connection, the breath, the presence, and gratitude is essential. So being grateful for everything that you can be grateful for, and really being grateful with that, and then asking for the greatest outcomes as well, you know, and connecting, even because we've seen that, you know, there's been so much shown to us, to so many that didn't know it already, around with the closure of everything and all that's been done online and the healing and the awakening and everything that can go on. So we really know that if we can't be there in person, that we can still be a part.
That's right. That's right.
And we energetically just connect out, like get present with you, be that breath, be that gratitude, connect with source, and then connect with everybody who sees the possibility of a new reality, of a totally different reality run on kindness coming from those pleasure principles.
Yes.
Because pleasure is not just about hedonistic partying. Pleasure is about joy and elegance and grace and gratitude.
Yes,
and
we're here to experience joy. That's what we're here for. Yes.
Yeah, and that's the way that we raise it. That's why you're seeing more and more people gathering, because people are actually generating a ton of joy.
Yes. Yes.
It's not just all rah, rah, rah. There's moments of some of that, but a heck of a lot of it is real joy and caring and nurturing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of prayers, I wrote one yesterday and I thought it'd be perfect to read today. So I'm just going to share it on the screen, and it's called a powerful command prayer, and it can be read 3 times. And here it is. Can you see that, Delany? It's coming up.
I'm going to put my glasses on. Yes, I can.
Oh, fantastic. So I'm just going to read it out. We call in the divine creator energy. We command our highest self's presence to be here now, and we center ourselves in our creator heart. We command our highest spiritual team and highest guides and teachers of purified love and light. We call in all our galactic family who are committed to the highest good of all humanity. We command all the saints and all the angelic realms to work with us now. We call in the elemental kingdoms and the animal kingdoms to assist us. We ask to magnify this prayer 1,000,000-fold to touch each soul on earth and beyond. Mother Earth is a profound treasure to be honored, protected, and loved from this moment on by all souls. Humanity is a gift from and of the divine and is to be honored, protected, and loved from this moment on by all souls. Every child on earth has the inherent birthright to live a safe, healthy, and happy life, and we ask for etheric shields of protection to be placed around all souls who request this at a higher level. All precious life on earth, animal, plant, elemental, is a precious aspect of the divine, which is to be honored, protected, and loved from this moment on by all souls. All precious life beyond this planet that honors the divinity of all is also to be honored and protected at the highest levels. We ask in the name of the I am presence I am that anything that does not follow that criteria above be placed in individual seals of white light, bound to the light, and transposed into positive energy. We ask to raise the frequency of humanity and earth in divine alignment, whereby only the frequencies and energies that contribute to the collective good of all will be able to be sustained in the ongoing energies as we invite higher levels of divine love, light, and truth to this realm. We command that a natural dissolution of anything that does not support the highest collective good be dissolved into light in alignment with divine will. This we command now. We command that this resonates around the universe as our free will command. We command that this request be recorded in our and in humanity's sacred Akashic records, proxy for all humanity. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so be it. And we trust guidance and source that it is done. Mm-hmm. So thank you. If anyone would like a copy of that, please email me on my website and I'll send you a copy. Thank you so much, Delany. It has just been such a gift to chat with you today, and even just to have you in the world. It's such a gift for humanity. And, I really treasure my connection with you. So thank you so much. And I've got all your contact details below if anyone wants to contact Delany for a session or to work with her in any way. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, beautiful. It's been delightful.
Bye.